Get out. Like, seriously, get out. Like, right now.
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
The Dorkening and all affiliated shows are not intended for anyone under the age of 18. The following may contain discussions or scenes that have adult situations, graphic violence, nudity, strong sexual content, and graphic language. This show is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome. You know what? Hold on for just a second. Okay. Welcome to the tomb of hold it. I don't remember saying that, but
you put up pain reliever.
Antacid tablets. That's what this movie did to you?
No. Welcome to the Tomb of the Terrible. I am your humble servant, UncleNecRo. And joining me tonight are Dell and her little friend there, Friday in Chaos, Tom Dog, Ron, and one of the biggest headaches I have ever gleaned from a movie so far. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing great.
Neat. Okay.
This was a movie. It was a movie that I watched.
Definitely a movie.
I'm sick.
So
that's what the movie did to her.
Mm-hmm.
It put me on steroids that knocked me unconscious for some reason. Yeah.
And I believe Friday you did say you had a rant that you're going to treat us to later on.
Oh, goody.
This is how bad this movie is. Friday loves everything.
Mm-hmm.
She is our cheerful songbird of happiness.
Thank you.
Until this movie happened. So yeah, now bring up the deep hurting alarm. Brace yourselves for tonight as we continue down the path of madness and insanity. We're discussing the 2011 direct-to-video found footage horror by the Asylum Pictures, The Amityville Haunting. Written and directed by Jeff Mead. In The Amityville Haunting, a family move into a disturbing history, a house with a disturbing history. It helps if I read one of the lines. And they begin experiencing strange happenings. They set up cameras around their home in an attempt to capture the supernatural forces on film, but are unprepared for the horrific events that are about to take place. Was this everybody's first time watching this movie?
Yes.
Unfortunately.
At least we got it out of the way here. Now, what was the first impressions we got after watching this movie, or during, or whatever? Del, go ahead.
Not photosensitive happy, by the way. So many changes with the cameras and the dragging and it's one of the shittiest found footage. I can't watch very many found footage movies. I try not to watch found footage movies, but as far as like, oh, and then we're just going to drop the camera and record the floor. And to make it spooky, we're going to have the camera suddenly just keep corrupting video and stuff. And it's just going to do that. So it's constantly fucking with you. Terrible trying to watch it. I was getting migraines. I had to like look away from the thing, but then I'd be like, oh, something must have just happened because they made sure to show this scene. So I'd look up and it'd be like, nope, nothing happened. They just decided to show 20 seconds of a room under surveillance, sitting still. So, that was, it was nearly unwatchable for me. And the plot, or whatever that was supposed to be, made it even more so.
Yeah. Friday, what was your first impression of this movie?
It's a mix of, they tried to make a real horror movie, a mix of found footage film, and they had to have watched at least a few episodes of The Haunting. Because I got the asshole husband/dad down pat.
Right. So, Chaos, what was your first impression?
My first impression is I know somebody's going to get kind of butthurt about this, but I hate found footage movies with a burning passion. They make my hurt. And
Okay.
yeah, it was the worst of them I've ever seen.
That is saying something.
I would rather watch Cloverfield again.
Well,
and that gave me a migraine within the first 30 seconds.
Yeah, who didn't? But Tom Dog, what was your first?
I'm going to interrupt real quick. Ratatosker has decided he doesn't want to get my sick, and so since I can barely keep him up, he's going to go drink over with his friends now.
I see.
I have about 12 for me.
Ratatosker has left the game.
I got friends in squirrel places.
It was too much for Ratatosker.
He had to squirrel away somewhere. Now, Tom Dog, what was your first impression?
Okay. First impression. Well, I found the buffering on the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight more watchable than this piece of crap.
That whole fight was a piece of crap.
But I would watch that again.
Fair enough.
I also enjoyed seeing Mike Tyson's ass more than I enjoyed this film too. So yes, that was a thing that actually happened. And
I know, I've seen stills.
Yeah. But
and he's got them saved somewhere.
Oh yeah.
I wasn't mentioning that.
I already did my review. Anywho, this was, this made me hate this film more than I did with Blair Witch 2. And when we get to the hate parts, there were some good parts, but when we get to the hate parts, there's more hate than good. It was another obvious cash grab of not only the Amityville movies, but the found footage genre. If done right, it's good. I do have a soft spot for the Paranormal Activity movies. However, if done right, then you're good. This was not good, and yeah, we're gonna be digging deep into the hate scale on this one. I think we'll fill our quota with this one.
I'm looking forward to Friday's rant. Actually, kind of morbidly curious.
Yes. Uh-oh.
Mhm. So, I've summoned the sheep.
Mm.
I am
Hey,
so
hey.
terrified of that sheep.
I'm kind of aroused, actually. But Ron, what was your first impression?
Let's put it this way. Before I watched this movie, I had luxurious waves of dark brown hair, and I looked like I was in my 30s. After watching this movie, you get this. Yeah. So I would rather have wiped my ass with sandpaper than to have watch this movie. I can think of better ways to torture myself that would be far more pleasant than having to sit through this movie.
Wow. That is saying something. However, just to one up Ron here, my first impression, aside from this movie making Paranormal Activity look like an action-packed free-for-all, I kind of wanted to I would rather wipe my ass with duct tape than having to sit through this again. You don't want to do that, folks. Trust me.
Didn't you watch Breakfast Club?
Not recently, no.
It's bad for you.
There's
very bad.
Couple of points of there's a couple of points of trivia I do want to go through here. First of all, I've seen a lot of customer reviews. Aside from, not really liking this movie themselves, they're claiming that the original Amityville house was torn down years prior to the movie, but that is not true. Actually, it's been renovated several times, yes, but it still stands at its original place. In 2017, the house itself sold for $605,000. Then in 2023, sold for just under $1.5 million, which does beg the question: why hasn't there been like an Amityville House Flippers kind of movie yet?
There kind of was, actually.
Yes, the selling.
Yeah. No. Like an actual Amityville one. There's one where
really
yeah.
Sweet mother of Elvis. Okay. Now I'm just morbidly curious to watch that.
It's actually, I think it's not exactly flipping, but it's the one where they have to basically the whole thing is that there's a real estate agent who has to sell the house at least once a year to a new family every year. It requires souls, and so and like the entire town is in on it, so they like all work on constantly making it look like a really good sale. So they don't really, they clean, all the gore and everything away and keep bringing in new people to, saw it.
Huh.
Wasn't actually as bad as some of these. I swear, I've seen some decent ones, and that when I brought you guys into this, I am a total masochist myself, but I did not realize the depths that we would sink to going into this Amityville season. I thought we would see some of the fun ones that I've seen, but Jesus Christ. has this been painful.
When can we stop it? When can we move on to something?
Well, you could blame me for contributing more another Amityville film.
Yes.
There's
Other than
over
the-
120 of these damn films. We could literally keep this up for another season.
We're on episode
We
11
could, but
right
we're
now
not.
of it, but
Uh-huh. And there's what, 4 more left on the wheel at the moment?
yeah, we might, depending on when we change seasons, we might not have to sit through all of them. You know, if
Okay.
we just have to figure out when we can change seasons for the network.
Let's put it
Excuse
this
me
way.
for
There's
just
been
a
more
second.
bad of these movies than there has been good of these movies.
Yeah.
Amityville Christmas Vacation, I think, is the exception. That one was okay.
Yeah, that
did
one was
enjoy
that was watchable. And Amityville Moon. That one I actually
Also-
enjoyed too.
One more bit of trivia here that I wanted to get here. It's, just...
Oh, yes.
Did anybody else notice the Great Value cereal?
Yes,
That was,
I
yes.
did.
I'm like,
Uh-huh.
did they get the money from Walmart?
No, I think that's
Cornflakes,
just what they
I
had
believe.
available for the shot.
Okay.
I don't think there was any kind of product endorsement or placement or anything. It just happened to be there.
I want to know why they were like, the mom said in that scene. Sorry. What?
Come to find out, Walmart sued them for slandering their product with this movie.
No, I just, that scene, the mother sets out the bowls. And then, like, the kid dumps herself, like, 3 teaspoons worth of cereal in her bowl and, like, 15 flakes in the other one. Why does your friend eat so much? 15 fucking flakes of best value. I was just like, why did you put out a bowl if you didn't want the kid to put food in it? And why are you like, they didn't even have milk. The milk's sitting out there. This little girl has like a couple things. She's just like eating a couple of pieces of food because she's just like, I don't know what to do. I can't lift the milk.
Well, to
I'm
be
too
fair,
short.
I eat dry cereal too. So
Yeah, but they don't help
Yeah.
her. Like, she's just sitting there just like, I can't have cereal with milk, even though the milk's right there, because I'm like 2 feet tall and I can't get to it. I guess I get to sit here and be bitched out. Okay, great.
Guys.
Oh, wait, we have
have
to
you
wait for
tried-
a part to that.
Well, the steroids are doing a number on you. But have you ever...
Amityville steroids.
Somebody get on that movie. Have you guys ever mixed your cereal in with yogurt instead of milk?
No.
Granola, I
You get
do.
Okay, granola and the Oops All Berries. Works in a pinch.
just-
Some cereal with orange juice before.
I've done that.
I want to try cornflakes with beer.
Like, I once
Done it.
snap, crackle, and burp.
Don't recommend.
Gotta love Revenge of the Nerds.
Yeah.
So one time I took a bowl of Cocoa Krispies and I poured chocolate milk on it and then put sugar on top of it. And I took a bite and my pancreas went, fuck you. I'm leaving.
Dude, I could see Cocoa
That'd be it.
Krispies with a nice stout. Oh, that'd be the shit, dude.
Oh,
Guinness.
snap, crackle, and
Breakfast of champions.
okay.
My cereal
Clearly
has
we
head.
want to go on little,
Okay.
clearly we want to talk about other things than the movie, but we really should focus here. I'm right there with you. But what did we like about the movie, if anything, Del?
Okay. I'm going to do the picture thing real quick. The little run through. First off, I didn't even bother to get pictures in the very beginning. two couples of teenagers go in, and they tried to create every form of found footage that they possibly could. They had old camcorders, they had motion sensor cameras, they had regular surveillance cameras, they had a kid walking around with his thing, they had phone footage, and they had iPod footage. And so these teenagers go in first, and basically they have sex. And if somebody gets yanked out, there's blood, and there's another thing where the guy just yanks away. We don't know what happened there. Then the family comes to look at the house, and look, there's the real estate agent. Thank you, RM team, for the picture that we caught there. And the husband and wife and the little girl who's already looking sinister. But the real estate agent fucking has an aneurysm and dies while they're in deciding whether they're going to buy the house. And yes, she's like, I can show you other places. You really probably don't want to live here. And she dies. And they're like, yeah, we're going to buy the house. So this kid is going around filming everybody all the time. And he gives his little updates on like, Dad was mad at me today and stuff as he's going through. He finds the iPod that was left by one of the teenagers, and they filmed themselves having sex. And he's like, you guys have to watch this because something bad happened. They're like, you should not be watching this. So that's the mom, dad, and the older sister who they moved because she was getting in trouble all the time. Here is one of the cameras from the mounted on the wall where you can't see it unless you're looking through the camera, but that is John Matthews, one of the original brothers who was killed by Ronald W Jr. And so you can see different things through different cameras, and all sorts of stuff shows up. But I think that covers who the family members are. Let's see, what did I like about this movie? I liked the initial premise that this is another one of those things where I liked what could have been made of this movie, but that was it was a total letdown on every level. Acting, plotting. Yeah. No, don't got anything other than that. It had potential. It was a good idea, maybe, but I don't think we should have left it to Asylum to make this.
No. As a matter of fact, you brought up that iPod video that the parents were watching. And I'm thinking they could have just punched up the script by simply having the mom at one point just go, she's faking, and then gonna move on. But Friday, what did you like about this movie?
I like the idea and the premise of the story.
Okay.
That's about it.
So that's two. That's two that I like the conceptual idea behind it, but nothing about the movie itself. I think we're going to be getting that a lot with this. But Chaos, what did you like about this movie?
Again, as Jenny said, the concept was there, the execution was complete shit. So the execution, the concept was good, and the credits.
There were no credits.
Neither intro or exit credits. We caught you.
All right, the fact that it did.
You can't just
There's credits
go back on an
everything,
old
so
tried and
have
true.
it say the word.
Just the fact that it ended.
I'll accept that. So, Tom Dog, was there anything you liked about this movie?
Surprisingly
Dig deep.
enough, yes, there was. There, you know,
Really?
there were some. Yeah, at the beginning of the movie, um, as Dell said, it was tolerable. It was watchable. I didn't mind that part. There were some jump scares that hit really well, and I'm a f- I'm I don't like jump scares. I always get suckered into jump scares, and that's what makes it fun. Just watching me, go, oh my god, you know. Um, yeah, there were some pretty legit jump scares in here. The violence at the beginning of the movie was perfect. Um, the blood on the guy at the near the end of the movie, that hit its mark. The blood on the mother also hit its mark too. And there was even one scene where it was on the night vision, and it looked like a a guy in the same colored jumpsuit or suit there that looked like there was a man standing there like this, and it was legitimately, creepy. So the jump scares were there. The and the story was also there as well too. But yeah, I'm gonna be nice to it for now. Over the, but yeah, those were my positives of the film.
Okay. All right. Well, Ron, was there anything you liked about the movie at all?
I'm going to be like Tom Dog here and be fair. I'm going to say yes. But I want to put a clarification on what I said earlier when asked about first impressions. And I said that there are better ways I could think of torturing myself. I'd rather wipe my ass with sandpaper than to watch this movie. That's not really a first impression. That's basically a response to having watched the movie. The first impression was that I thought they were going to follow the Amityville storyline somewhat, and maybe we would get some kind of twist on that. And to an extent, that is almost what happened, or at least that's how it started out, with a family that doesn't have a lot of money because they've had to move around a lot, finding this house for cheap and moving into it, which is precisely the same premise as how original Amityville got started. And then weird stuff starts happening. There's a lot of telltale signs, but because of their situation and not having the money to be able to move, the family starts to come at odds with each other, and things start to go downhill. And that is essentially the same thing that we see happening in this movie. So my first impression was I thought that it was basically going to just be like a retelling of Amityville, but maybe from a different perspective. And it did that a little bit, and it didn't do that a little bit. So I have to say that that is actually one thing that I did like about it, was that they did try to take the Amityville premise and to expound upon it. It just fell apart. That being said, I thought that they did a good job for what they did. So to clarify my earlier statement about I'd rather wipe my ass than watch this movie, that comes with having to say, I hate found footage movies. They drive me insane. They are incredibly difficult to watch because nothing happens. Just like the Paranormal Activity movies, they set up this entire storyline, and all it is switching camera POV, camera 1, camera 2, camera 3, camera 4, camera 1, camera 2, and they tell the story like that. And then everything that happens in the last 15 minutes of the movie, which is essentially what happened here. So why they did not choose to make this an Amity Paranormal Activity movie rather than try to leave it as Amityville, I have no idea. I think it would have been more successful, but it fell apart. So they did a good job for what they did. They just didn't do enough.
It's fair.
Okay. Well, as for me here, there was one thing that I was somewhat amused by. See, after 80 minutes of just overwrought, mind-numbing crap, there was the scene in the library where the father just totally snaps and loses his crap. That I watched it the first time going, eh?
He froze.
And it can come on, there we go. Am I back?
I think so.
Maybe.
Hello, am I back?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. But anyway, that was a scene that I was just going, huh? And then I had to, whatever the equivalent is of rewinding on streaming is just to rewatch it three more times in a row, because holy cow, that was some overacting, and I applaud that. He just committed just fully to the whole, I used to be in the military and now I'm insane, in front of the entire family. So bravo.
I thought that
on
was
that.
PTSD kicking in.
Yeah, I was feeling that too.
I wouldn't say PTSD, maybe an over exaggeration of PTSD. Kind of like what everybody thinks Tourette syndrome is, that I have to put up with. So, and I have no idea what my computer's doing.
You know what my favorite thing about that was? That particular scene is the whole family's huddled up on the chair while he's pulling around guns and crawling on the floor, and they're all terrified. And then they all go up to go to bed because they're scared to death of him. And the girl goes to sleep in her own room, but the little girl goes to sleep on the bed with her parents, both of them, with him holding a gun on his chest, and the boys sleeping on the ground beside him. We're scared of Daddy. Let's go sleep in the same room with Daddy with his gun.
Well, keep your enemies closer. But that actually brings us to what didn't we like about this movie? And
Okay. So it starts off and it explains the Ronald W murders. And then it says that the Lutzes moved in and they stayed for 2 years. The Lutzes stayed for 28 days. That's exceptionally important because they document what happens on each day. I have the book. I've watched the movies. They did the fucking research enough that they knew the names of the kids, but they couldn't put in how long they stayed to just get that right. That bothered me. They did include the flies, which is one of the things that, as we know, I always like, yeah, there's the fly thing. They didn't get they took a picture of the house, but it wasn't actually the house when they did it, because the Amityville house is a 3-story house where the attic and the basement were both very important places, neither of which did they do. Like, they zoom in on the basement a number of times and on the vents with noises coming from them, with the where the catch 'em kill 'em stuff comes from, and they never go into the basement and they don't have the attic. the kid is recording all this shit, and like when the guy who breaks into that, okay, first when his closet door opens and closes, he tells his parents they don't believe him. He has footage of it, but they won't watch it just to verify that something's happening. They have footage of the door outside with the dad's camera opening with nobody there. Somebody broke in. Who? The Invisible Man? He just run around naked in your backyard that doesn't have a boathouse or a canal, but it has a fence and a tire swing that comes with the yard. It comes with the house, right? Yeah, the tire swing comes with the house. No, we're not going to take that down if you move in. That was seriously in the movie.
But where was the cornfield?
Behind the fence.
And when they're going out to recon around the house, they're like trying to walk between the two houses that, the High Hope's house sat on its own land. There wasn't a house that was a foot away from it. And they did make a couple of the good references, like, you want to chop wood all until December, and why can't we just buy wood, But little things that Mr. Lutz got obsessed with and stuff. They had the father going through his obsessions, but it wasn't in the same intensity as the original movies, and everybody kind of had their own thing going on. But the next time somebody breaks in, the kid goes out and videotapes him getting yoinked and doesn't show the cops, apparently, and there's like, people just keep dying and everybody's freaking out, but that dad doesn't care. He just blows them all off and stuff. And they have a police investigation going on to the dead person. He just has some guy come in and put in more cameras, who was just odd. I mean, you're assuming this is an old military buddy of his based on the kind of way that they talk, but it was really weird. And so I just, the attempts that they made at connections didn't work out. And then seeing, like, I can see him on the dad starts noticing that he can see the spirits on the video cameras, but the kid's camera doesn't pick it up, but this camera picks it up, and different cameras pick up different things. And I guess that's how ghosts do their own thing. But the little boy ghost, John Matthew, just giggles all the time, and the girl can understand him. You'd think if when it went and actually had him talk to her, that when it shows him, he would actually, speak instead of just giggling and her interpreting his giggle, his ghost giggle. She's apparently a ghost whisperer or something. And then the sheriff, when he's coming to investigate the, like, bloody clothes and stuff that were found at the house, is just like, or the detective, I'm sorry, not sheriff. Do you know, has anything else weird happened? Well, we were talking about, shut up, nothing. Well, you know that this many people have lived in the house over this much time, and none of them last longer than like a month or two. They just pack up and leave the deposit and do stuff. So has anything weird happened? And they're getting ready to say stuff, and they don't let him. And he's just like, and he explains the whole murders. And then he's like, but it turns out a couple of years ago that Ronald DeFeo didn't commit the murders. Actually, it was his sister. Okay, now there was something where Ronald DeFeo tried in his, Ronald DeFeo Jr. tried in one of the, like, many, many, many variations of the murders that he told, the story that he told behind the murders, tried to say that it was his sister who wanted to do it, but then he killed her too. But the sheriff's like, oh, there was a letter that but she's dead. So she didn't write a letter saying that she did it. This is just something that, if they could get that much that she was involved in it, how come they still had the Lutzes stay there for 2 years? their studying on this was exceptionally sporadic as far as everything went. And when the murders finally happened, you'd think there would be some rhyme or reason behind the different ways people were killed. And no, the mother somehow like is burned to bloody in the kitchen. I did kind of get a kick out of the oldest daughter's death, but there was another thing where the little girl, when she's telling them, like, oh, he wants me to stay here forever, but you and mommy, and she keeps telling the boy, I can't remember what his name was even, but you and mommy and daddy can, do whatever, but I'm supposed to stay here. She never mentions the older sister. Like, there's a number of times where she talks about stuff and the older sister is just completely left out of the conversation. And it says that a lot of this was supposed to be ad-libbed. So I think this little girl just forgot that there was another person in the cast because she wasn't on stage with her very much. She like pushes her in a swing once. And otherwise they aren't really in a lot of the same scenes together. So she just forgot to mention her. I don't know. The ad-libbing of things, it just wasn't very good. I already talked about the camera. Oh, look, we get to see it upside down and sideways as it goes down the stairs. And it's just very odd. Very, very odd. I think that covers pretty much everything I hated about it, which was pretty much the whole movie, but...
Okay. Friday, what didn't you like about the movie? And go.
I'm going to break it down in like 3 parts, and I'm going to say this is in addition to everything Della just said, because she hit a lot of the points. So they picked and chose and ignored various things that happened. And they did not get the full idea of the way the plot should have went. And at the beginning, second part, I'm going to start there and then continue. They could have done that better, how they did the scenes, instead of rushing through everything, because they wanted to get the gratuitous boob scene, gratuitous sex scene done quick and in a hurry, and quick death scenes. They didn't want to really have any plot in that, other than just those random things to show later. And they could have done more with adding to the story there. The family moving in. Did they have to go so hard on the dad being an asshole and going straight over the bar PTSD? Because it's like they watched so many episodes of The Haunting, which is probably where all of this started. They watched a whole bunch of Haunting episodes and said, let's capitalize on the Amityville thing and make our own Haunting episode, but add this to it. They wanted to make it part horror movie, so they added that to it, but not well. They wanted to make it look like it was a great, real, creepy ghost scene with all the creepy children stuff. And seriously, I kept expecting the kid to just randomly stop and say, I will eat your heart. But nothing really cool happened. They could have done so many cool things with hauntings, because there are so many cheap, not hard things to do to add to the story to make it more creepy and weird and palpable. And they didn't do any of that. It's like they had this weird view and they didn't exactly fully study how horror movies could go well with little time but a little extra plot to make it go better. They wanted to have a haunting episode, but they didn't study that many haunting episodes of how hauntings could happen. They could have added a little bit more to how they did the found footage thing. And it randomly be scenes from the sister's phone. or something like that. Something that she's having a video phone call and they get scenes of random stuff happening and they find out she's seeing weird things. It's like they added them, but they didn't really get much from them and they could have added more. And I know that this would work because my daughters both have different videos of random stuff on their tablets. And it's with a little bit more plot and a little bit more study. I know we could take this and do better, even though we're in 5 different states with just our phones and Raz's amazing powers of editing.
Yes. So,
And I guess that would be my rant.
Okay. Very good rant, by the way. Very good points. I don't want to freak anybody out right now, but there's been there's a fly that has started buzzing around me for the past, I don't know, last 10 minutes or so. So I'm not going to take this as an omen, but this is totally an omen. So welcome back.
An omen?
Yes. There's a fly, and we all know what kind of flies were in the original Amityville horror there. I, too, read the book in junior high. I found it amusing. But Chaos. Yeah. Chaos. What didn't you like about the movie?
The fact that the only one there that had any semblance of being able to act, the little girl. And on top of that, when it comes to the moving man getting killed, I swear the ghost didn't kill the moving man. The boy did. Because I'm sorry, that kid literally stayed there at the top of those cramped steps while they're trying to move those boxes in. And the kid just got so far in the way, he knocked the moving guy down the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
The moving guy was not the house killing. The kid's just a dick.
The face of evil right there.
There's the big throbbing dick right there. So,
and then wonders
everything?
why the moving guys were pissed off at him.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
fucking move.
The moving guy's moving.
Kid down the stairs.
You know, to be fair, the moving guys had it coming, but we'll get to that.
Yeah,
so,
but still.
Yeah. Well, somebody had to die.
Yeah. I was kind of hoping it was the kid.
We can print that on a shirt. Somebody had to die. So, Tom Dog.
That's genius.
Copyright by UncleNecRo. He has to get the royalties.
I like money.
It can be a
Tom
Tomb
Dog.
of the Terrible shirt.
There you go. And then on the back it could say somebody had to die. There we go. Marketing.
Yes.
I don't have a puppet, so I'm using my cigarette.
I thought Ratatasker was going to hold the cigarette for you.
I can't hold him today. I'm just too.
Yeah. That's okay. Okay, what did I didn't like about the movie? Okay. The kid with the camera. Him, yeah, and that picture right there, he looks like that picture looks like a profile pic from OnlyFans. I swear to God. And this, I totally could not stand this kid. He was constantly in the way of everybody, and and then the mover had to die. And that mover fell down the stairs, and raspberry jam was smeared all over the bottom of the. There was like a big puddle of raspberry jam on the bottom of this. Where he laid there dead, and so yeah, that was kind of cheap. Yeah, I just did not like this kid at all. I did not like him. He kept being in everybody's face, and they're trying to tell him, it's like, get the camera off of me. And it's just like, what? I'm filming. It's like, please, I want to do this. I'm doing this film. It's like he felt so entitled to do this film, and it's like, dude, people died, and you don't have no compassion. And it's like he's like a young version of Logan Paul. I swear to God, this is how he was acting. And I think that's where Logan Paul got the acting lessons from, seeing that this came out in 2011. And this was so, I mean, he was so annoying. And he's like, and the father was like, hey, put the camera down, give me a hand, and everything. And he was just being a complete douche. He was being a complete jerk. And and then the father, he was getting annoyed, and then later on, we started liking this guy, but then all of a sudden he was just getting acting creepier and creepier and creepier because of the books that he was reading and everything, and he was just like going all crazy. And it's like he had like a combination of PTSD and bipolar disorder, and it was horrible. And the overacting was there, and yeah, it was just this was the only thing but going back to the kid, I just hated him. I hated this little kid and everything. And I mean, the little girl was fine because she was legitimately creepy near the end, so I didn't have a problem with her. Just
she starts off with that.
Exactly. And I just felt that the older daughter didn't get much screen time. That's how I look at it. It's like, she was hardly in the movie, and when she was in the movie, it was because they had to do a scene where she was getting berated by the father. And it's like, where were you? Did you go out the back door and everything? And I'm like, dude, really? And the way he was communicating with her, it just gave me some creepy vibes. Especially when he was looking up, after when they were leaving to go see a movie or something like that, and the father was just looking at them like creepy and everything like that. Especially it was just like, okay. But yeah, there was too much overacting in that part, and but yeah, it's just that little self-entitled, spoiled brat son. I swear to God, I just wanted to smack him around and just break that camera. It's like I just wanted to wrap that camera in barbed wire and just shove it up his butt, But then again, I just wanted to find a pine cone, wrap that in barbed wire, and use that as a butt plug. So I would have gotten more enjoyment out of that than I did with this movie.
We're coming up with so many great mental images in this episode.
And I'm the one on roids.
Right. So
yes.
Good grief. Maybe the show is cursed. That would please me.
This movie, I think, is getting to all of us. The Amityville panel.
Yeah.
The only one that could save us is the Amityville fan, the ultimate
Sam?
Amityville. Yeah,
Sammy. Mm. Well,
he's the only one that could save us from this nightmare. I think the next time he comes, if he ever comes on, I think he should, just have like a thing of holy water and just compel us all and everything.
I have some in my room.
She does.
Oh, there you go. And you didn't bring it on the air. Why?
It could be worse. We could have agreed to an entire year of these movies. So at least we only have a season.
Yes.
So, Ron, I believe it's your turn to tell us what you didn't like about this movie.
James Brolin, Jack Nicholson, Ryan Reynolds. James Brolin from the first Amityville, Jack Nicholson from The Shining, and Ryan Reynolds from the Amityville remake. These are all excellent depictions of a man who's depicted as a warm, loving family man that is slowly progressing into the downward spiral to insanity. And they made it believable. This guy started out as a dick and only got worse. I did not like the father at all. Pay attention to your fucking kids. Maybe listen to them. You probably could have avoided a whole bunch of shit in this movie if you had just fucking listened to your kids. This whole entire movie just annoyed the shit out of me because a lot of it could have been avoided, but the parents were so thick-headed and the father wanted to always be right and not give a shit about his kids, even straight from the beginning. He was never really depicted as the warm family man. He never really paid attention to his kids throughout the entire process. Now, they also never specifically stated from the beginning that this dude was ex-military until he goes into his nervous breakdown in the library and specifically states it himself. So a lot of that is inferred, and you're like, oh, this guy, he's former military. Okay, I get it. And he calls his son Sarge throughout the entire movie, and then he references that he's got an old military buddy that's coming by to install the cameras for him. So it makes sense after a while, but they could have done a better job at explaining a lot of things, about this guy's prior military history that would have made him so obsessive compulsive that he completely throws himself into this project to protect his house or figure out what the mystery is going on. That it's just, why? What is your motivation or your reason for this? Because you don't give a shit about your family. So why are you putting all of this effort into it? And also, they allude to the fact that they've moved around so much, and it's the reason why they don't have any money, because the oldest girl keeps getting into trouble. So they have to keep moving from city to city, and that's why they didn't have a lot of money to buy this house and all of that. Well, maybe if you had paid attention to your fucking kids, giving your oldest daughter some attention, then she wouldn't have gotten in all of this trouble, and you wouldn't have to keep moving. So, but they never explain what it was the girl did that got her in trouble that they ended up having to move. Maybe put in a little bit of backstory here and there to make me care about this fucking family, because I don't give a shit about them. Now, even in the original Amityville, all right, even in The Shining, even in the remake with Ryan Reynolds, the family mostly comes out alive, with the exception of Jack Nicholson in The Shining. He does die, but the mom and the kid, Danny, they get out alive. This movie, nobody lives. They all die. And I could care less. I could not care less, because there was no emotional arc. There was no redemption for any of these characters. And I had no compassion for any of them for me to go, okay, they all died. Maybe if you had listened to your fucking kids, you could have avoided it, but who knows, you know? And also, the real estate agent died. The mover died. The next door neighbor that had the hots for the oldest daughter disappeared. Nobody knows what happened to him. They never actually stated whether or not they found his body. So we can only assume that he's dead as well. Okay, this is all within a 3-day period. Yet nobody shows any fucking emotions or like they even care that people have just died in their house. They just move on as if nothing has happened. I don't think so. Any emotional, caring person, if somebody died in your house, you're going to be traumatized. These people showed no emotion whatsoever about the people dying. And I was like, come on. At least try to convince me that these people are somewhat human, that they have emotions, that they're compassionate. Basically, it's a bunch of bickering and yelling, and the whole family is falling apart because the father was a dick straight from the beginning. And so it turns out that they could have made a movie that paralleled Amityville, almost like the Poltergeist remake did, where it didn't quite mirror or parallel the original movie, but was like the next generation. They could have done the same thing with this movie because it did have a lot of similarities in storyline to the original movie, but they didn't even do that because they went off to the whole Paranormal Activity route with trying to tell the movie through found footage and security cameras and all of that mess. And I hate the Paranormal Activity movies because nothing happens until the last 15 minutes of the movie. So same thing happened here. Nothing really happens until the last 15 minutes of the movie. And we find out that the way that everybody died was the little girl went around and killed the entire family. Maybe somebody should have paid attention to the signs. She had an imaginary friend. They knew who the imaginary friend was. Nobody thought about that. They didn't call professional help. This girl maybe needs to see a therapist or call in a medium to try to talk to this kid to find out what his intentions are. They could have taken this movie in so many different directions that they didn't because the father was such a dick to his entire family. And they did nothing with the boathouse, no lake, nothing in the backyard, no boathouse. Now, the original movie and the remake, they both had a dog in the family. There was no dog. In the original movie, the dog actually lives because the father goes back for it. And the remake, Ryan Reynolds' character kills the dog, which is a departure from the original movie. This movie didn't have a dog whatsoever. So they could have at least added more tension, more drama if they had added in a family pet. What is going to happen to the family pet? Because that could have started the entire thing. Because that's how it started in the originals. Then you would have seen the downward spiral. If something had happened to the dog, then you're like, okay, they fucked with the dog, and nobody likes it in movies when you fuck with somebody's pets. That's always a big no-no. There's so many things that they could have done better. They could have expounded upon the story. They could have maybe added a little bit more gore. I think more jump scares. It's like every time the video footage corrupted was because we don't know how to transition to the next scene. So we need to put something here so we can do so. Okay, well, let's corrupt the video, and that will be our transition. Every single time. Whenever we need to go to another scene, we'll just corrupt the video. Every single time. And it's like, okay, But what happens? Give me something to work with here. It's kind of one of those things where I really wanted to zone out or go on and watch something else, but I stuck with it. I watched the entire movie. I kind of wish I hadn't, because it was just more annoying than anything. If you had told me that this was an Asylum movie before I watched it, I'd be like, all right, cool. I've seen Asylum movies in the past. I like a lot of them. They do a really good job because they're cheesy, they're campy, or they make fun of the original movies and all of that. But this one failed. It's so low quality for what I expect Asylum movies to be. I don't even see how they can consider it an Asylum movie. It's just, it failed on so many levels that I can't even find any redeeming quality about this movie. And I was trying to be fair. I was really trying to be fair, but there's just so many things about it that it failed to live up to expectations. And they really probably should have thought about some of these things before they put it out there for publication.
Right. So yeah. And I also got an idea where the family pet should have been like a hamster or maybe a small wee turtle. Like, I need to go back and save the wee turtles. Save me from the wee turtles. Nothing? Okay. So far, these are all very, very valid points there. But as far as mine go, I'll just go through the notes that I wrote down. It's like, first one, not even 3 minutes in, and I'm already rooting for everyone's painful deaths. Yeah, that's never a good sign. The mover guys were dumbasses. They deserved to die. At least the one guy. One guy I remember saying, Amityville House, isn't that where they make the cookies? Yeah, he deserved what was coming to him. So, yeah, there were deaths from the get-go, but not the right ones, if you catch my drift. I do agree that with Ron kind of going off the script here, that had the angle been taken from the older daughter's perspective, because she seemed like the more interesting character with her backstory, which was just mentioned very briefly. And I'm like, if we could have just gotten from her perspective instead of that annoying twat of a son of theirs, then this could have been marginally better. I don't know. But they had the most insufferable family to ever move into the house. The dad's just dick from the get-go, and everybody else isn't much better. The wife wasn't really much better than, the dad was over the top dickish. But the wife was lower, but still was kind of insufferable at various points, which just, it's like a team up now. You begin rooting for everybody just to go away. It's hard to really feel anything other than disgust and annoyance with these people. The youngest child seems to have only one setting, the over the top cheerful, which admittedly worked in her favor at the end when she just ups and plays stabby with daddy. But yeah, overall, I hate saying this, but it was trying to be Paranormal Activity, and all it did was make me wish I was watching American Poltergeist instead. I was almost going to say Mandy the Haunted Doll, but even I'm like, no. So, with all of that off of our chest, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to, it's been an hour. We should take a break to pay some bills, and then we'll get right back with the rest of the show. You stay tuned. Roll the thing.
Greetings and shabebans. We are the Retro Reductibus Cephala Podcast, a long-form bi-weekly show that celebrates all the things that made growing up awesome.
Well, that sounds good, but I don't know what all those words mean.
I think what Parasite Steve's trying to say is that on Retro Reductibus, we explore a range of retro goodness, from toys, video games, and movies, to cartoons, and even snacks and school lunches.
Oh.
And we do it all with a positive spin, a slew of killer guests, and some very adult language.
And you know what else is cool?
No.
This crazy show is part of the Dorking Podcast Network with new episodes every Tentacle Tuesday.
What's that?
And if waiting 2 weeks for a new episode gives you a sad, know that we drop bonus episodes all the time, like the off-format Crow's Nest and an interview series we call The Brig.
You can listen to Retro Reductibus on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or any app that's cool enough to carry the only show that celebrates all the things that make growing up awesome.
Am I really back? Is this computer just freaking out on me? I mean, anyway, wow, tonight's been quite the night. Friday, save me out here. What kind of books should people read?
Well, first, I forgot to upload it, but Mariah has a new book out. Would you like fries with that? She has written a story about basically working in all types of retail food work and the different types of customers you'd meet. It is fun, it is amazing, and if you worked in retail or food service, you are going to love it and get it and laugh and be like, yes, somebody gets me. Raz has a new middle grade horror book coming out, early chapter book, basically. And Sophia, her friend Screech, and Zeke are trying to figure out what the shadow people at the Harshman house are doing while they're there, if they can stop them. And they have to find a way to get rid of them and remove them from their town and the house. And they work very hard to try to figure that out. There's a better way to explain this, but this is the first time I've tried. Elliott Menagerie. We have stories from almost everybody in this chat room. Later, there will be stories from every Elliott person in a book soon. We're going to get there. They're working on it. We are working on it. But the Elliott Menagerie has stories from different guest stars, all of us in it. From a Groundhog Day at a mental institution to angels and owls and a mouse trying to just live and get food. All the proceeds for the first year to go to pro-literacy. Every adult has the right to literacy. Please check out our book or give them a donation or do both. And we will absolutely love it if you became our fans and saw what the amazing stories our friends have written. Nightmare Whiskers. We have Gronk the Monster. We have ghosts. We have giant spiders. And, well, everybody's favorite furry friend. A Bigfoot-like creature. Family has, or was it supposed to be Bigfoot? Either way. I am stumbling today. Forgive me, guys. Please check out this book. You'll find art and poetry and stories from so many amazing people, including my daughter.
Nice. So
Awesome.
now with that, we're going on to ratings and recommendations, our favorite part of the show. Del, what do you rate this? And would you recommend it to anybody?
Well, this is going to be again, and I didn't think I would ever do this when we started doing this show, but because of ratings that I gave other movies that I thought were really low, I'm not going into the negatives, but this is getting a 0. And I would only recommend this to people that were on their third day of being kept awake in order to get through a seizure study so that it would trigger them so that they could finally get some sleep.
Okay. Wow. That's quite the recommendation there. Friday, what do you rate this and would you recommend it?
I give it a 1, and I would recommend it to people who like haunting movies that will make them mad.
I see. So, like the 1999 movie The Haunting, which was mediocre at best. But anyway,
I
Chaos.
would rather watch that 12 times in a row than watch this again.
Okay. Chaos. What do you rate this, and would you recommend it?
I have to go with Dell on the rating at a fat 0. And I would only recommend this to somebody that I don't want to ever talk to me again.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Tom Dog, what do you rate this, and would you recommend it to anybody?
Alrighty. I give this movie a solid deuce. A solid deuce. And I recommend this movie to anybody who has never touched alcohol but will after watching this movie.
Okay. Wow, very sinister recommendations here. So I'm so proud of all of you. But Ron, what do you rate this, and would you recommend it to anybody?
I did not think that it was possible because we have referenced many times the movie Prey, and as being probably one of the worst movies I think that we have watched on here. And I know James likes Prey a lot, and I didn't care much for it because really nothing happens, and it's just one big setup for a punchline. But watching this movie really made me appreciate Prey a little bit more. That being said, I gave Prey a 1. Even though nothing really happens in the movie, it could have rated much, much higher had something actually happened. And this one, because stuff did happen, you know, they did try to play into some Paranormal Activity type stuff with a lot of parallels, and people did die, and there was blood or strawberry jam, as Tom Dog pointed out. Then I have to rate it marginally higher than Prey, just on sheer principle that something did happen. So I'm going to give it a 2, and that's being very, very generous. Would I recommend it? Hell no. Not even close.
It's a miracle. See, I'm bringing everybody around to my way of thinking. You're going to love the other two Prey movies.
Don't push it.
Del, sweetie, after all of
I'm
this,
with chaos
this
on that one.
I have my emotional support, Drew. Get out.
Yes. Okay. As far as me, this gets a fat 0 out of 10. And do I recommend this? No. Screw this movie with a spiked metal gauntlet and no lube. Possibly sandpaper. So, believe it or not, I do have some 5-star reviews to read off. And I know that Dell does have one of Sam's reviews of this movie here. So, starting with Neko-sama, if I'm reading that correctly, I enjoy found footage / true event movies. And I love the Amityville genre. It's a genre now, people. It's official.
Yes.
I'm aware the house was torn down before this movie was made, but I still enjoy it. Disproven. See the previous notes earlier in the show. I admit the acting isn't the best, but hey, I love the death at the end. Isn't the best. Okay. Understatement of the year? I say yes. Helen Mitchum. My daughter likes haunting movies. This was a good movie. End of review. Jennifer Schertz. My handicapped brother loves this movie. Why I don't know, but could possibly be all the facial expressions the actors make. That does seem a bit insensitive in the way that you put that there. I mean, facial expressions, you can do better. So, and the final one, Nancy, my type of movie, and she spells type, T-I-P-E. Possession and horror up my alley. Don't recommend children to watch it anyway. Thank you for my DVD. It arrived on time and as described. Thanks again. And Nancy, try to avoid run-on sentences in the future. There was no punctuation whatsoever. So,
wow.
Del, why don't you treat us to Sam's impeccable review of this movie?
Okay, Sam Panico's review from BNS About Movies is 2 out of 10 stars. Amityville, meet found footage. Start of the review. Great tagline. The family did not survive, but the recordings did. Good premise. The movie is based on actual found footage that documents the horrifying experiences of a family that moved into the infamous haunted house. Bad news. It's made by the asylum. Found footage, meet Amityville. Amityville, meet found footage. You two play nice. The Benson family decides to move into 112 Ocean Avenue, no matter what the rest of the known world knows. As soon as they decide to close on the house, their realtor drops dead on the driveway. The next week, a mover falls down the steps and dies. But hey, once you're all moved in, who cares about little things like that? Even when their daughter Melanie begins to speak to John Matthew DeFeo, no one thinks, maybe we should just rent a townhouse instead. Lead actor Jason Odell Williams graduated from the Actors Studio in New York and has written and produced several of his own plays. And yet, here he is, stuck in a found footage Amityville movie, a prospect that seems more dire than bugs attacking priests and blood dripping down the wall. In the original Amityville film, an entire room would mysteriously disappear. In the Amityville haunting, it's a mysterious landline telephone. There's some message in that, I figure. End of review.
Wow.
Yeah, I also found a 10 out of 10 rating on IMDb that I thought I would share with you guys.
Okay.
All right. This is by Jinx Malone. Totally extreme! 3 exclamation points. Spoilers for awesome. This movie is, quite frankly, one of the worst pieces of crap you will ever see, with the caveat that the asylum is somehow making bank off of said crap films. They generally take their money back off a given feature in about 2 months, which is a pretty sweet turnaround. I'm not sure what this says about the future of quality film, but I don't think the guys at Asylum give two beeps about quality. So yeah. There was clearly, I hope, a lot of pressure put on the actors to improv their scenes, but apparently the actors have no background in improv, so you are forced to agonize through scenes where everyone repeats themselves endlessly because they just don't know what else to do, and yells, and talks about how scared they are. The kid documentarian is hands down the worst actor I've ever seen. Stop now, kid actor. I don't know who you are, and frankly, I don't care, but a future in film is not for you. Annoyingly, without any ability to emote whatsoever, you'll be pleased as punch to see him buy the farm, even though you're cheated out of said scene. The mom and both sisters are forgettable. They screech a lot. I don't know what else to tell you. The dad has delusions of being a real actor in a real movie. Dude, my hat is off to you. Were you trying to play your scenes as ex-military dude or ex-military dude with over-the-top PTSD? Your tour de la force in the living room where you ranted and screamed and crawled on the floor as if you were in the trenches. Massive, sir. Simply massive performance. Why did you take so long to die? Your ranting was both hilarious and douche-worthy. I doff my cap to you, good sir. Questions. Why did no one care that the serious as cancer military friend of Dad's who got iced by the wire in the backyard? Who is the little boy ghost? Why doesn't the house have a boat slip like it's supposed to? Man, this family got the low rent version of Amityville. No boat slip? I would have been raging. Finally, when you can't even be bothered to spell check your idiot coroner's reports at the close, and I am forced to read about the extreme trauma suffered by the entire dead family, you bet your ass I will write you a beep review on IMDb. 10-star movie making, people, 10-star. I would like to say that the extreme is spelled EXTREAM in these cases, as it was on the coroner's reports, as well as other misspellings and things that they did on the coroner's reports. So, yes.
Of course. Wow.
10 out of 10 for that review. Man, that was great.
Yes. So why don't we get to the wheel to see what we're going to be tortured with next week?
Oh, yes.
That one will be our leading up to Thanksgiving, but
we took Thanksgiving off.
There's a reason why I requested that.
Okay. And it's time to spin the wheel. Ta-da!
Mount Misery.
Mount Misery Road.
Yep. This was one that we were totally warned off about by Sam. So we should apparently be prepared to really hate this one.
Oh, goody.
Is that possible?
Yes.
I think we've just shown we can really hate something. We don't have to hate it more.
I'm going to need snacks, won't I?
Maybe.
Oh boy. Great. Just, now I'm planning my grocery shopping just for this bloody movie. Okay, well.
It is Tubi.
It's on Tubi. Of course it is.
And apparently, and I still don't understand the running theme of these Amityville movies where they spend more money on the the poster production than they do the movie itself.
Well, you see, much like any predator flower, it has to look really, really good for the insects to come and buzz onto, or even smell pleasant, for it to finally trap it and eat it slowly with its digestive juices. These are sentient things that lure us in and feast on our intelligence, on our brains, as we watch them.
That's brilliant.
That's my theory anyway. Del, where can we find you?
You can find me here on Owlite most Sundays and Mondays. If you want to find me on Facebook, which is the easiest place to find all of the rest of my stuff, go to Carrie, Kari Sanders, and I gotta scroll down. If you see this crow, that is me judging you. And you have found me. There you will also find links to my author page. Go read my shit. It's fun. Well, it's not too much fun. It's a little bit
You will
scarier
love
than
her
fun.
stuff.
But it's not all about fun. It's more about Lovecraft most of the time. You will also find me on Splash Pages. Tomorrow night we have Art Baltazar and Franco coming on. We are going to be we are reading The Tiny Titans for this one. So I don't know if the language will be kid friendly, but the comic book will be kid friendly. They're releasing a new Flash Gordon comic. So we're excited about that. Yeah. So come catch us there. And that's pretty much where you'll find me. And right now I'm working on getting rid of a sinus infection on round 2 of antibiotics and first time ever having steroids in my system.
So tell me, do you remember any of the Flash Gordon movie from last year's Lament?
There was a football and a guy in shorts.
And that was the point where you kind of fell asleep?
Off and on, yes. I must admit it was his birthday and he made us all watch Flash Gordon. And I was like through a lot of it. So yeah. I am sorry, but it just wasn't quite my thing.
Because if I have to suffer, everybody else has to suffer. I love my
We
friends.
even did a wheel for he had 3 movies and we made up a wheel for it.
Yes. So Friday, where can we find you?
2 things first. 1, my dad has made me watch that movie so many times where I was younger. Number 2, why do you think I have an emotional support Josh this entire show? I'm like, if I have to, you're going to come join me. And he's like, okay. And it hasn't ended yet. That is a blessing. But, I have poetry, I have stories, I have all types of stuff. Random shows. Please go check out my stuff on Amazon. I'm on Facor. I'm on Owlite. I'm on Friday with the Library Blue Box at Friday Vash. And you can find my author page under Jennifer Elliott. Please, if you don't read me, read their stuff. They have great stuff. And I'm in some of the books they're in. Some of them I'm in all the books they're in. So, yeah.
Okay. Whoa, excuse me. Chaos, if you're in danger, blink twice. That was 5 times, I think. What does that mean? It means he's hungry. But Chaos, where can we find you?
Still searching for the key to the trunk she keeps locking me into.
Okay.
Only is Aunt Regina has the other key.
We're learning so much tonight. Tom Dog, where can we find you?
You can find me on my YouTube channel at TomArcade69. Took a break from Wrestling Prime this past weekend. Just felt drained and everything like that. So I was like, I'm just going to take a break. And but I'm going to be going back in the clear things on this Thursday on Channel X. We're going to be talking about the nominations of the Video Game Awards, and on Saturday we got some predictions for Survivor Series. So yeah, in full gear, and so yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun with that. And but there's only one way to do that, to check me out and everything like that, and that is face hug that subscribe button.
Awesome. Ron, where can we find you?
You can find me searching for my lost luxurious waves of dark brown hair that I had before I watched this movie. I don't really understand it, how Tom and I can look so similar being bald with glasses and facial hair, yet his beard is still full colored and mine has gone completely white from watching this movie. I don't understand it. And other than that, you can
Die job. Die job.
James, you kind of look Amish when you do that.
I thought he looked more Amish with the hat. I was like,
yeah, he does. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a good choice. It's a good fit for him. But where was I? I don't know. You can find me on Facebook on my author page, Ronald W Gillespie Jr. -author. I have been making a couple more updates lately because I'm trying to finish the novel so I can get it out for a February publication, and I've been given a deadline for what I need to do the final submission by, so I've been working on that rather diligently. Other than that, you can also find me on TikTok under @WolfDojo. Wolf is spelled with a U, WULFDOJO. I am a martial arts instructor by trade, so if that's the kind of thing that you're into, then check out my TikTok, and I try to upload martial arts related content every now and then. So that's it for me. Otherwise, just don't find me because I'm trying to recuperate from watching this movie.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, as I walk through the valley where I harvest my grain, I take a look at my wife and realize she's very plain. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, currently known as X, Instagram, and I'm now on Blue Sky for some odd reason. Also, apparently, I have a fan page on Facebook. Go like me, I guess. I have. I'm working on. Well, there's a couple of poems that I'm contributing to an upcoming collection, and otherwise, I'll be writing in a lone farmhouse in eastern Nebraska, eating runzas, writing, listening to music, writing about other stuff, and yelling at squirrels. So, until next time. This is, I want to say it's been a pleasure, but no. But maybe next week it'll be better. But from what Dell tells us, probably doubting it. So until next time, spay and neuter your friends and seek help.
You're still here.
Yeah.
I said get out. What the hell? The movie's over. Go home. Get out of here. They're gonna have another sequel. I don't want that.